Hello everyone, thank you for joining with me. I'm Sasid Walahakon, software engineer at WSO2, and I'm going to introduce you to the Ballerina's new regular expression feature. Ballerina is a cloud-native programming language designed to make it easy to build scalable distributed applications. And with its new regex feature, it's now even more powerful. In this presentation, I will introduce you to Ballerina's new regex feature and show you how it can simplify your code and make it more expressive. During the presentation, we will look at some code examples and explore the benefits of using Ballerina's regex feature. And finally, I will do a demonstration with a real-world use case. So let's bend it like Ballerina. Do you know regex has superpowers? But it is not to save the earth. It is for saving the world of text processing. Have you ever spent hours trying to extract specific data from a long string? What if I told you the superpowers of regex can make string manipulation easier and more efficient? Regex finds and replaces text patterns in strings and is widely used in programming languages like Java, Python, and JavaScript. It allows for easy validation and extraction of specific data, while also enabling flexible data conversion to increase efficiency and reduce errors. So we will see how these things are achieved by Ballerina regex in upcoming slides. So first, let's look at the basics of Ballerina regex. From the new version of update 5.0, regular expressions are supported as first-class elements in Ballerina. With built-in support allows to improve user experience through compile time error detection for invalid regexes. As an example, if a user insert an invalid character while he constructs the regex pattern, Ballerina will give a compile time error. As with the built-in support, the language tooling provides support through VS Code by offering code completions and code actions. As an example, in this picture, you can see how the language gives suggestions for the user to continue to build his regex pattern. Here it is suggesting these 5 sessions as the next regex data element. In this picture, it shows how the code actions are given in Ballerina. Here, users can assign this regex to a variable by just clicking this code action. Now, let's talk a bit about Ballerina regular expression syntax. It uses a data tag name RE followed by a template literal to define the regular expression. Like in this example, users can define the regex pattern between backticks after the RE data tag. Ballerina supports inserting parameters, function arguments, or any other variables to a regex pattern dynamically. In this example, you can see that the regex pattern is constructed by inserting the function argument dynamically. Important to note that Ballerina regular expressions are based on the ECMAScript 2022 specification with support of subset of ECMAScript syntax. So here we go. We are very close to declare our first regular expression with Ballerina. So here is the complete syntax for defining regex. For this, we can define the variable using Ballerina string module or Ballerina regexp language module. Important to remember that this regexp module is not a standard library module. This is a built-in module inside the language to implement the support function for regex. So we can define the regex in following ways. We define the variable type as regexp from the string module or regexp module. Then we give the variable name, then the RE data tag, then we define our regular expression inside the backticks. Ballerina allows you to create a regex pattern using string values. For this, we can use fromString method in the regex lang library. For this fromString method, we pass a string regex, which may contain invalid syntax and could cause an error. So it's important to handle potential errors and then assign the resulting runtime generated regex pattern to regexp type in either string module or regexp lang module. So that's it for the basics. Now we are going to see some advanced regular expressions and the implementation of Ballerina. The first one is capturing groups. Capturing groups in regex are used to group and capture parts of a matched string. Capturing groups are implemented in regex by using parentheses around the subpattern that need to be captured. In Ballerina, captured text can be accessed using groups tuple, which is written by find groups method. The zeroed data element in the groups tuple represent the complete matched string. In this case, it is name is Joe. The first data element in the groups tuple will represent the string value of the first capturing group. In this case, it is Joe. The next thing I'm going to discuss is non-capturing groups. Non-capturing groups are a type of grouping construct in regex that allow you to group subpatterns without capturing them. So the match text within a non-capturing group is not included in the match result, making it useful for cases where you don't need to capture the text. Let's look at some examples. This regex match with any string that contains one or more occurrences of capital letters, but it does not capture them. In here, this regex will match the title without capturing groups. Regex flags are a mechanism in regex that allows for customization of the treatment of non-capturing groups. There are 4 flags: I, M, S, and X. The I flag makes the regex case insensitive. M flag enables the multi-line mode. S flags enable the dot character to match new lines. And the X flag enables the extended mode, allowing white spaces and comments inside the regex. In this example, this non-capturing group use the flag I. So it makes this regex case insensitive. So it will match the word hello with regardless of its case. So this regex will match with all of these hello word. So the next thing I'm going to discuss is Unicode property escapes. Unicode property escapes allow matching characters based on their Unicode properties. For instance, Unicode property escapes can be used to match punctuations, letters from specific languages or scripts. Simple P will use to match the property value based on their Unicode properties, while capital P do the negation of that operation. Here the regex pattern is simple P followed by curly braces. Inside the curly braces, it is capital L simple U. Capital L simple U is the defined way to recognize an uppercase letter based on Unicode in the regex world. For the general categories like letters, digits, punctuations, it is not mandatory to use keyword GC followed by a equal sign inside the curly braces. You can use it if you wish, like this, like in this example. In this example, Ballerina Regex is used to match the Latin scripts based on the Unicode properties. Now we are going to discuss the usages of regex and how they are achieved by using Ballerina. Ballerina supports set of language functions to search and manipulate strings. Let's discuss few of them. Find method returns the first match of a regular expression within a string. Find all method search for a regular expression pattern within the given string and returns a list of all occurrences of the pattern. Find groups method search for regular expression pattern within the given string and returns the capturing groups of the first occurrence. Match method checks whether regular expression pattern match the given string at a specific index, and the replace method search for the first occurrence of regular expression pattern within a given string and replaces it with a specified replacement string. These are not the only functions supported by Ballerina. There are lots more. As an example, find all groups, replace all, like that. You can refer them from our documentation. I will show you the reference for the documentation at the end of the presentation. So before going to a detailed description about each support function, there are 2 types of constructs we need to discuss. These constructs help to provide the output of each utility function. The first one is a span type. This will be used to store details about a substring. Span contains a start index, end index, and the string value of the substring. And the second construct is the groups type. This is a tuple type that contains span object. It represents the matched substring for each capturing group in a regular expression. The first span member in the groups tuple object contains the complete matched substring. The other span members in the tuple will contain the substring of each capturing group. So the I plus one member of the groups tuple represent the ith capturing group details. So let's discuss the implementation of the find function in Ballerina. Here we use a regex that can be used to match URLs. We are going to use find function for this string text, and my target is to find the first URL in this string text. So we call the find function with the regex and add the string text as the argument. This will return an optional span object. If the result is nil, that means no URL found. If the result is type of span, it means that a match is found for this regex. For this string text, the match substring is this URL, ballerina.io, because it is the first URL in the string. Next, we are going to discuss about find groups function. Here I use the same regex pattern, but it is important to note that there are three capturing groups in here. The first capturing group will capture the schema details in the matched URL, whether it is HTTP or HTTPS. The second capturing group will capture the domain details of the matched URLs, and the third capturing group will capture the top level domain details of the matched URL. We call the find groups function for the regex using the string text as the argument like this. The function return nil if there is no match found, otherwise it returns a groups object. The first span member in the groups type represent the complete matched URL. In this case, it is ballerina.io URL. And the second member represent the first capturing group details, the schema value in the matched URL. In this case, it is HTTPS. And the third member represents the second capturing group details, domain value in the matched URL. In this case, it is Ballerina. And the fourth member represents the third capturing group, top level domain value in the URL. In this case, it is IO. Next, we are going to discuss the replacing function. We use the same regex that match with URL that we used in the previous slides. Then we use this pattern to replace the first URL in the string text with the new URL, ballerina.io. So we are going to replace this with this URL. So first, it will identify the first match of the regex. In this case, it is abc.com. Then it will replace the new string with that identified URL like this. So that's how it works. Now we are ready to get some hands-on experience on Ballerina regular expressions. So in this session, we will explore the power and flexibility of regular expressions in the context of password validation. We will walk through a sample password validation task and demonstrate how regular expression can be used to check for specific password criteria, such as length, character types, and more. By the end of this session, you will have a solid understanding of how to use Ballerina regular expression for string validation. And we'll have a practical example to work from. So let's start. So this is the sample project I will use to do the password validation task. So this project consists of two parts. First part is a server-side program using Ballerina programming language. And the second part is a front-end UI using React.js. So this is the simple form I will use for the password validation task. This is a simple sign-up form, consists with username field and a password field. This password should obey with these 7 validation tasks. So my target is to implement these 7 validation tasks. So the password should be 8 to 16 characters. There should be at least 1 capital letter and at least 4 simple letters and at least 1 number. And these special characters these special characters should not include inside the password. And also common words like password, let me in, ABCDEF, QWERTY are not allowed inside the password, and no spaces are allowed inside the password. So these are the validation tasks. So let's see how we can achieve this validation task using Ballerina Regex. So these are functions I will use to implement the validation task. So the first validation task is to check the password length. So for this task, this function should return true if my password contains 8 to 16 characters. Otherwise, it should return false. So for this task, I will define a regex, re followed by backticks. I will define a regex with a dot character, then curly braces. Inside the curly braces, 8 to 16. So the meaning of this regex is this regex will match with strings that have any character, but the length of the string should be 8 to 16. Number of occurrences of the characters inside the password should be 8 to 16. So this means this will match the strings that have 8 to 16 length. So I will create a regex variable using the code action, and then I will return regexp dot is full match function with as the password as the string password as the argument. So this is full match function will return true if the entire password match with this regex. So that means this is full match function will return true if the entire password contain 8 to 16 characters. So that's how we achieve this validation task. And my second validation task is to check at least one capital letter inside the password. So for this, I will define a regex, re followed by backticks. So inside the backticks, I will define a regex like this. So I will define a character range, regex character range like this. So this is the proper way to, this is a good way to define a capital letter in regex. So this is how we implement the capital letters in regex. So my task is to check at least one capital letter. So because of that, I will add this. I will update the regex like this. So this means this regex will match any string that contain any number of any character, but there should be at least one capital letter. So that is the meaning of this regex. So instead of creating a variable for this, I will call the isFullMatch function in line like this. So this will return true if the entire password match with this regex. That means if this will return true if this entire password contain at least one capital letter. So my next target is to create a function that check at least 4 simple letters. In here, we can do it in several ways. I will show you how to achieve this using capturing groups. So first, I will define a regex that captures simple letters. So like I did in the capital letters, this is the way to define simple letters in regex, character range with simple A to simple Z. So because of I will do this validation using capturing groups, I will enclose this by parentheses. So that means this regex will capture simple letters inside a string. So then I will create a variable. Then I will call find all groups function in here by passing the password argument. So this find all groups function will capture the all simple letters inside this string. So this find all groups function will capture the all simple letters inside this password and assign it to a array of groups, regex groups. So so this array of groups contains the captured simple letters inside this password string. So we can return like this, because if the length of this final groups array is greater than or equal to 4, that means this group captured at least 4 simple letters from this password string. So that means it contains at least 4 simple letters. It is captured at least 4 simple letters. If this is true, that means this password string contains at least 4 simple letters. This is how we can do this task by using capturing groups. My next target is to check at least one number. There are several ways to do this also. So I will use Unicode property escape to do this task. So I will define a regex. I will define a Unicode property escape like this to denote numbers. So this is the way we denote numbers using Unicode property in regex. So my target is to check at least one number. So my regex should match with a string that contain any number of any character, but there should be at least one number. So that is the meaning of this regex. Then I will return calling the isFull match function inside like this. So this is how we achieve the check at least one number validation. This will return true if the password string contain at least one number. So my next task is to check special characters inside the password string. So these special characters are not allowed inside the password. So for that, I will define a regex like this. I defined a regex like this. For now, I will remove this part and I will explain you. So this is a character set so inside the character set, inside this square bracket, it contains these special characters. So we use backslash to escape this character and get the literal meaning of this, because in regex this character has a special meaning, and we use a backslash to escape this backslash as well. So inside this character set, we contain the special characters. So this means this regex will match any strings that contain these special characters. So my target is to get the opposite of that. So I don't need these special characters inside my password string. To achieve this, I will add this regex character in the front of the character set. So this is work as a negation. This work like negation in here. So because of I add this, now this character set will not match with any these special characters. So this regex will not match with any special characters like any of these special characters. So that's how we generate regex for this validation task. Then we call the isFull match function like we did in the previous. So important note that empty passwords does not also contain the special characters, but we don't need to pass the validation for empty password because empty password does not make any sense. So because of that, I add this check as well. So my next validation task is to check common words inside the password. These are the common words that should not allowed inside the password. So important to note that these words should not be in the password regardless of their case. So if there can be a combination of capital and simple letters for the password word, but we do not allow regardless of their case. So because of that, I have to use a non-capturing group with regex flag I. This regex flag I make this regex case insensitive, so it will capture the common words regardless of their case. So I define a non-capturing group with the regex flag I. Then I denote the common words by taking the union of them. So this regex will match a common word, the specified common words, either password, let me in, ABCD or QWERTY. So we use the string module function called includes match. So in here, this function will try to find is there a include of one of these words. So password.includes match regexp means this function will return true if this password string contain a match for this regex. So so one of these common words inside the password, that means we have a match for the regex inside this password string, then this will return true. So what we need is the opposite of that. We don't need to we don't need to pass the validation if there is one of these common letters appear in the password string text. So we have to get the negation of this function code, function result. And I do the similar check I did in the previous, because to avoid empty passwords are passing validating from this function. So this is how we implement the check common words validation task. And for spaces, this is how I achieve that task. So for here, I use a special character \S. So in here, in the regex, \/ simple s denote the white spaces, and \S denote any character other than white space. So in here, what this regex do is this regex will match strings that contain one or more occurrences of characters other than white spaces. So this will return false. The full match function for this regex is return false if the password contain at least one or more spaces. So this is how we achieve this task using regex. So let's rerun server and see how the things are work on the UI. Until service running, I will give you a summary. For the validation length task, we use a quantifier from curly braces 8 to 16. And for the capital letter task, we denote the capital letter using a character range. For the simple letter, also we denote the simple letter using character range and enclose it with parentheses to capture the groups. And for number, we denote the number as a Unicode property escape using \p gc = n. For the special character validation, I used a character set. And for the check common words validation, I use an uncapturing group with regex flag I. And for the space validation check, I use \S. So let's go to our UI form and type and see. You can see that when I'm typing, these validations are good passed. So now these all validations are got passed in here. So if I add a special character in here, this got red because this validation is not passed here. So if I add a common word like password, this become red because common words are not allowed inside the password. So if I add a space in here, this become red like this. So that's how we achieve password validation using Ballerina Regex. So finally, I will add a valid password that pass all of these validation tasks, then submit. So it is saying that account created successfully. So this is how we achieve password validation using Ballerina Regex. You can use regex to Ballerina Regex for string validation like this, and also we can use Ballerina Regex for any kind of real world examples like this. So let's continue our presentation. So now I think you have a good idea about Ballerina regular expression implementation. Let's look at some future developments that we are planning to add. Currently, the syntax highlighting for the regular expression is not supported. This will be available from update 7 version of Ballerina. So from update 7, with this feature regex pattern, we'll have multiple colors for different sections. And also with this feature, it will mark and color the start and end bounds of brackets inside the regex. So you can see that there are several colors for several regex sections like this, and it marks the bounds as well. Okay, let's thank you for all your questions. You can learn more about the Ballerina Regex feature from the following references. join the Ballerina Discord server, ask the questions via WSO2 Stack Overflow collectives, follow us on Twitter and Insta us on GitHub. Myself and Ballerina team always available to help you. So that's it for the presentation. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.